All right, hello again, everybody, and welcome. It is the Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game. We're leading you into baseball coverage today as ECU takes on the UNCW Seahawks. And speaking of the Seahawks, they are in the NCAA tournament. They're in Wilmington, and that's where our friend Brian Mull, part of Joe Lunardi's team, is with us here for the majority of our time with you today as we lead you into coverage at quarter till. Brian, hello to you, sir. Happy March Madness. I understand if you celebrate, you should leave milk and cookies out, and maybe some 2 fingers worth of alcohol for Bill Rafferty. That's what you do. He comes at midnight or something. That's what I was told.
He drops by at midnight. You have to leave a pair of slippers out for Cinderella, and in case she drops by. Although I think she might have a hard time crashing this party. And a nice heaviest workload ever for Joe Lunardi, which when the SEC is one of your conferences, makes for a pretty busy week or so. He just kept sending me teams. Every time I thought we had reached the limit of SEC teams, I got another one from him. When he sent me Arkansas, I almost fell out of the chair. But alas, there they were, the Hogs, with one of the most intriguing coaching matchups of the first round.
Yeah, no, Calipari and Bill Self. All right, so we'll start there since you worked on the SEC for Joe Lunardi. 14 teams in, is that too many?
I mean, it's kind of mind-boggling when you look at it. But when you look at the quality of these resumes, it's hard to argue against it. And it's look, Georgia beat Florida, late in the season, and not many people have been able to beat Florida. And when you look at the upside, when you look at the ceiling of these middling SEC teams, it's pretty high. And certainly they've invested in NIL and their coaching and put that money to good use. And the talent in that conference has never been higher, both on the court and on the sidelines. And, you can't ever imagine there being more than 14. You just feel like if you're at South Carolina or LSU, you got to be wondering what you did wrong.
Yeah. Tar Heels get in, and we've talked about it. I think you should probably chime in on it. I think you, like everybody else in the free world, didn't think that the North Carolina Tar Heels would get in when compared to West Virginia or Indiana or Ohio State or maybe even Boise State, some others. But yet here, North Carolina is the last team in, and Buckingham is laughing to the bank with a nice PH fat bonus as a result. It's funny how those things look. If North Carolina tells you something's above board, it clearly is above board, right? I mean, why should we doubt them?
Should never doubt. I feel badly for the Mountaineers, that fan base, one that is certainly as passionate as any in the country, and would have just expected to be in based on what they accomplished, as their governor so eloquently pointed out yesterday at a press conference with yet another lawsuit. Just that one is North Carolina getting in over West Virginia is just very difficult to understand. I will say eye test end of the season, because I was watching a lot of these bubble SEC teams down the stretch. I mean, North Carolina certainly looked the part. They did improve over the last 6 weeks, after they made the lineup change. And, in what was kind of a soft bubble at the end, I mean, they're certainly one of the best 37 teams, I felt like. But if you look at the resume, there just wasn't much there to validate the selection, and certainly not head-to-head. I just don't know how you would pick them over West Virginia, but there may have been some ulterior motives there.
Yeah, a little horse trading perhaps going on. Who knows? The great Brian Mull with us here. Speaking of those Tar Heels, they'll play tonight, one of 2 first 4 matchups that are going on tonight. We'll let you get those picks to us. Well, what the hell? Let's do it right now. We start with Alabama State and St. Francis in the first game on the True TV at 6:40 tonight. Who do you like? Who do you like to play Auburn and why?
I am riding with our guy, Tony Madlock, who spent one season at South Carolina State before going down to Montgomery to coach the Hornets. Great story there. His son TJ in the backcourt, terrific player. Could have played at a higher level, but chose to play for his father, both 1 year at SC State and then now down at Alabama State. I like the Hornets here. I think their athleticism, their guard play in particular, is going to put a lot of pressure on this St. Francis squad. That's honestly just kind of been one of the middling programs in that conference. Certainly not a powerhouse coming out of the NEC. So yeah, I like the Hornets here. I think they're going to have too much. When you have three guards averaging in double figures, we all know it's guards that win games for you this time of the year. And expect both teams to be highly nervous. Usually these first game with the 16 seeds it starts out pretty ugly from a shot making standpoint. So if one team can come out and be ready to play on the offensive end early, that'll be something to keep an eye on. And I trust Alabama State to be that team.
But Pirate Nation, remember, you must pull for St. Francis as Pirate legend Valentino Pinedo will be making his
Jesus.
NCAA tournament debut tonight for St. Francis.
Well, I tell you what, that's just further evidence that the basketball gods are so unfair. That Val Pinedo, who couldn't play dead in a cowboy movie, is in the NCAA tournament. All right, let's see here. Got the other one tonight, the Tar Heels. And let's see, San Diego State. The concern with San Diego State is they're coming across the country. Now, I understand North Carolina's plane was delayed, and you'd have thought this was a 5-alarm emergency, according to the Triangle Sports Media, that they were delayed by a couple of hours in getting to Dayton, Ohio. You'd have thought they were left stranded in Mumbai. But anyway, the Tar Heels finally got there. So, who do you like
classic
tonight?
Battle here. Yeah, classic battle here of a couple of different things. I mean, pace and for one, the Aztecs want to grind it out. They've got a big squad. They're going to play long possessions, try to force really long possessions on when they're on defense. And of course, Carolina's trying to play as fast as they can from free throw line to free throw line. They've certainly been explosive in transition, allowed them to come back against Duke in the second half the other night, turning turnovers into quick points. But when you look at the San Diego State team, they lead the nation in block percentage. They block almost 20% of their opponents' shots. Now, they do allow a lot of threes with it's kind of a pack line type defense, but top 10 in 2-point defense. And they've guarded the 3-point line well. They just allow teams to take them at a high rate. So UNC's offense versus San Diego State's defense. I do think it is worth noting that San Diego State played a top 10 non-conference schedule, playing games against the likes of Houston and Creighton, UC San Diego, who's in the tournament, Oregon, Gonzaga. So they've been tested and then went through a very solid Mountain West. But I think, Carolina's got second new life here. They probably woke up Sunday morning not expecting their name to be called. And I feel like, this is a team that was picked in the top 10 by a lot of people in the preseason. They still have all these players. And I think Carolina finds a way to get it done. I like offense. I trust offensive teams this time of year because I feel like they can find a way to grind it out on defense a little better. Whereas conversely, a good defensive team that can't score, they're probably still going to continue to have problems scoring.
And the winner, of course, will get Ole Miss. All right, the two tomorrow night, my guy Adam Pohl and Mount St. Mary's, who are down a couple key players, and American on the True TV for the 6:40 game, and then Texas Xavier, which I think could be a really good game coming up. By the way, Rodney Terry continues to steal money from the good folks of the Lone Star State. All right, Brian, who do you like in those first four matchups and why?
I think American rolls. I mean, American was a team that was picked at near or at the top of the Patriot. The Patriot League was certainly down this season, but they have a veteran squad. They'll have the best player on the floor. Matt Rogers, he's a lot of fun to watch him. A very versatile forward, kind of a modern player, can score inside, can knock down some threes on you. And when you look at this Mount St. Mary's team, what an incredible coaching job by my friend Donnie Lind in his first season as a head coach. But this was a team that was not even expected to be a factor in the MAAC. Very fortunate through their run to the conference championship. And if you look at how poorly their opponents shot from the 3-point line, as you mentioned, down their two of their best players, including their best 3-point shooter. And I think the moment will just be a little too big for them. I expect American to win comfortably there. So do with that information as you might. And Texas and Xavier is a very interesting game. A lot of offensive talent on the court in this one as well. Of course, Sean Miller, one of the best 3-point shooting teams in the country, and the Xavier team that really was on the wrong side of the bubble in early February after a loss to Villanova, and then reeled off 7 straight wins to close the regular season. And before losing by 2 to Marquette in the conference tournament. So Trey Johnson's the best player in this game for Texas. I mean, he's capable of giving anybody 30 on any given night. But I trust Sean Miller to draw up a few more good plays here, and I see the Musketeers moving forward.
I'll say this about the 11 seed games, both of the next 2 nights. If it comes down to the sideline, like in other words, if a coach has got to outfox another coach, give me San Diego State and give me Xavier all day. Over Hubie and again Rodney Terry, who's just stealing money from Texas. All right, Brian, let's of the 4 number 1 seeds, who has the clearest path to San Antonio in the Final Four?
Well, we've got some potential great second round matchups. First of all, I think Duke has a very comfortable path to the Sweet 16, but then when you look at a potential rematch with Arizona or one of the best NCAA tournament coaches of our lifetime, Dana Altman, that will not be an enjoyable game in the Sweet 16. But I do feel like they may be catching Alabama at the right time, even though Alabama has been on my short list of national championship contenders. They just have not, unless they just decide to start playing defense again. I think Duke could score 110 in that game if it reaches that point. I feel like it really doesn't matter who plays Florida right now either.
Right.
I mean, obviously, we've seen teams close the regular season and conference tournament strong, and then lose that momentum once they get into the NCAA tournament. But the Gators have enough experience and just incredible guard play from Walter Clayton, who's probably one of the 5 best players in the country, and just their size. And I don't see a real weakness on that squad. So I think Duke and Florida of the 4 number 1s are 2 that I fully expect to be in San Antonio, because they're both so complete and they make you pay for your mistakes on both ends.
Who might be someone then to emerge out of the South if it's not Auburn, and who might be someone to emerge out of the Midwest if it's not Houston?
I really like this Michigan State team. Izzo has done it many times. Generally, when he's a top 2 or 3 seed, not too many Final Four runs as a much lower seeded than that. But I think this is a complete Michigan State team as well. They got a little bit of a break by taking an early exit there in the Big Ten tournament. That's not the worst thing that can happen. I would feel comfortable with them knocking off Iowa State when they met, and if they were to meet. And when I look at the top half of that bracket, Auburn, Texas A&M, neither one's very scary to me right now. I mean, Bruce Pearl has had a kind of a mixed history in this tournament, a lot of early exits. I don't think this team's prone to an early exit, but I just don't feel like the Tigers are, they've had some guys that have shot 3-pointers like Miles Kelly at just an insane percentage all season. And I mean, he could regress to the mean quickly in a short tournament. So I think the Spartans coming out of that South bracket is very realistic.
All right, a break. When we come back, Brian Mull is going to give us some first round upsets to keep an eye on. Maybe some teams that could make a run to the second weekend that are below the radar, as it were. Patrick Johnson Show here on 94.3 The Game, leading you into baseball with ECU and UNCW. And speaking of UNC Dub, we'll talk a little bit about them and also some more on Duke and High Point, teams from the state who have made the big dance.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you Farm to Fork Beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to Fork Beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown.
Living easy is the sound of children laughing as you make memories with neighbors and friends. It's the sound of nothing at all. It's the smell of the salt air. Hear the waters against the marsh grass. See the beauty of our coast, Bow Coast, located in Beaufort, North Carolina. Southern living's best small town.
Other restaurants claim their food is fresh and fast, but are they friendly? At Moore's, you're treated like family the minute you walk into their doors. With locations in Winterville, New Bern, Swansboro, Morehead City, and Jacksonville. We've been practicing what we preach since 1945. At Moore's, our barbecue is slow cooked and smoked over real wood daily until it's so tender it's falling off the bone. Combined with our fresh chicken, cooked to order seafood, and homemade fixins, we're sure you'll agree. If it's not Moore's, it's less.
This is about you, your family, and the health of all who live in Eastern North Carolina. This is about the transformation of a health system into something more powerful and more human, about creating new ways to treat disease and keep you well. This is about ECU Health, which is to say, it's really all about you. ECU Health. Minds, hearts, purpose.
Your roof is a vital part of protecting your home and family from dangerous storms and hurricanes. At Assist Roofing, we install and maintain metal roofing that provides precise protection. Add value to your home while lowering utility costs with a fortified roof to last a lifetime. With 0% financing, grants, and Energy Star Green Roofing tax credit available. Call us to schedule a free consultation so you can weather any storm with confidence.
We are
riding shotgun with you on the drive home.
It's showtime.
This is the Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
All right, Brian Mull with us here. Brian, it's in vogue to pick I think the 5-12s, even the 6-11s, maybe the 7-10s as upsets. Anybody who should be on upset alert once we get this thing cranked up?
Well, if we go to the 5-12 line, UC San Diego against Michigan, I feel like Michigan benefited drastically from its Big Ten conference tournament run and probably should have been a 7 seed. Ended up getting a 5. I think that's questionable at best. UC San Diego is a very, very live 12 seed. And I think if they can handle Michigan's size, that's a game that I have penciled. I also think Colorado State is a very dangerous opponent for Memphis. You could also argue that the Tigers were given a generous seed as a 5 as well. There's been some rumblings about Drake versus Missouri I'm just afraid that Missouri's athleticism in the front court is overwhelming. Although a good something to keep an eye on there is the health of former Duke forward Mark Mitchell, who had a terrific year in Missouri, led them in scoring, and really kind of transformed his body and his game into more of just a around the basket scorer. And but he's battled some knee injuries as he did when he was in Durham, and I'm not sure if he's going to be 100%. Certainly, Ben McCollum at Drake has won as many tournament games as anyone in this field, with 4 national championships at the Division II level in the last 5 years before he came over to Drake. So he knows a little something about winning games this time of year. 2 other popular picks, at least from a point spread standpoint, have been McNeese over, as an underdog against Clemson, maybe not to win outright, but certainly to keep it close. And then, of course, a little closer to home, the high flying High Point Panthers, who are making their first NCAA tournament appearance, as having a possibility to hang around with Purdue. I just feel like, and this is one of the negatives of the portal and of the current landscape, is that the strong teams are able to get stronger, and the gap between the power conference teams and the mid-major teams has never been wider. And what the mid majors used to be able to offset with continuity and experience is not even an advantage that they enjoy anymore. So I just think what we're probably going to see is not a ton of first round upsets, but some phenomenal second round and Sweet 16 matchups. I think when you just look at some of the potential second round games, really just some juicy matchups across the board. But I would not. I would be conservative personally, filling out a bracket on upsets. There'll be a few, but if you start trying to pick those and you miss those and take out one of your teams, it could hurt you more on the back end. So I just think it's going to be a little chalky, which nobody wants to hear, but I think is the case.
How about UNCW? You mentioned High Point. Speaking of former Pirates, Bobby Pettiford, the 6th man for them. But anyway, you have UNCW and Texas Tech, who's probably playing as well as anybody going into this on the whole. They're a really dynamite team, Texas Tech is. So, Brian, what do you think? The Seahawks have a chance there, or is Tech just going to have too much for UNCW?
I think the Seahawks can hang around. When you look at their recent history in what I call step-up games against elite programs, they have been able to cover the point spread against teams like Kansas, UConn in a national championship season for the Huskies, North Carolina. Obviously, they won outright against a Kentucky team that made the NCAA tournament in Rupp Arena last year. So Takeo Siddle's always got his guys believing that they belong on the court in these type of games. When you look back at the program's history in 2016 and 2017 under Kevin Keatts, they took both first Duke and then the following year Virginia right down to the final minutes, single-digit defeats in both of those games. So the moment has not been too big for the Seahawks. Of course, going way back, there was a loss at the buzzer to a Maryland team that was coming off a national championship. So the Seahawks do have some experience going against Grant McCasland, the Texas Tech coach, who is as good of a coach as there is in the country. When you look at what he's been able to do first at North Texas and now these last 2 seasons at Texas Tech, taking them to the top 10 in KenPom. The Seahawks beat North Texas in 2023, a year when North Texas finished with 31 wins. They beat them in a preseason tournament in the championship game down in the Bahamas, a very low-scoring game. So I think that familiarity is probably an advantage for UNCW and their coaching staff. But ultimately, this Texas Tech team is really good. I mean, it's basically like McCasland's teams at North Texas. He's just got access to better players now. And when you look at what JT Toppin has been for them, I mean, you're talking about a guy at 6'9", 225 that's, he's 5th in the KenPom Player of the Year ratings. So they had a couple of guys banged up, 2 starters banged up in the Big 12 tournament, Chance McMillan and Darian Williams, but they're both expected back, and that is bad news for the Seahawks. But I think they'll put a good – they will put a representative effort of that program out there and give their fans something to cheer about for the first 30 minutes.
All right, Brian Mull with us here, part of Joe Lenardi's team, college basketball scribe. Uh, really quick here, Brian. Let's talk Duke in a little more detail. Obviously, Cooper Flagg's health is going to probably be the thing that I think you would, need to be the qualifier, uh, and how quickly he can return in order for and be effective in order for Duke to truly make a run for the national championship. So, uh, give us your evaluation of Duke. I know we talked about the path forward, but at what point would they really, really need to have a productive Cooper Flag?
Well, I think that if they could get like some 3 minute stretches out of him in that first game, which it sounds like he's on track for that, just watching him moving around at the ACC tournament, he climbed up on the ladder, walked to it without a limp, no boot, wasn't over there with his foot. I just feel like, yeah, there's some swelling, but assuming that swelling's going down at a normal rate, and I mean, he's going to be out there. They don't play until Friday afternoon. And I think you get him 15 to 20 minutes at the minimum in that game, and then he's ready to roll at full speed against either Mississippi State or Baylor. I think they could win that second round game without him. I think the more important question is, will we see Malik Brown in any form or fashion for the Blue Devils? I don't think that they would necessarily need him in the first two rounds, but if they could have him available for 10 to 15 minutes in the Sweet 16 and going forward, I think just as obviously Flag's the best player on the team, you could make a case that Malik Brown's the second most important player on that team, with not only his versatility on defense, but his ability to move the ball on offense, which was something that was a problem for them down the stretch against North Carolina and Georgia Tech when the offense got stagnant at times. So if they could somehow get both of those guys back by that second weekend, I mean, I think you're looking at probably the most complete team in the country. But the Duke should be able to get through Raleigh. There's enough there. I think the guys grew up, and the fact that Shire played 8 players double-figure minutes in the ACC championship when he was missing those two key rotation pieces shows me that he not only the talent they have, but the trust and belief that he has in them and that they have in each other. So I would certainly think with a partisan crowd there in Raleigh that the Mississippi State Bulldogs or Baylor Bears would be in trouble.
Hey, Pilk, did you like hearing that? Pilk thinks they got to have Malik Brown for sure.
I think they do. I say no Malik Brown, no ring. I'm sorry, but what they did, down the stretch, Louisville and then Carolina in that second half did, setting screens up at the top of the perimeter for Gungba or Malawach, and just their inability to guard guys on the perimeter who are smaller than them that Malik Brown can do. I know he only averages about 18 minutes a game, but those are a crucial 18 minutes. And like you said, Mo, I think if he can play 10 to 15, that can just keep them from being vulnerable in those situations. And I've said it all year, man. This guy, he was the big addition to the portal. I love Sion James. Sion James is a great player. I think there are more Sion Jameses in the country. I don't know if there's anyone in the country quite like Malik Brown on the defensive side of the ball.
No,
all right, Pilk, are you ready for?
He's a unicorn.
Go ahead, Mo.
Sure. Yeah, he's a unicorn.
Pilk, are you ready
and
for?
To have him out there is vital to go all the way. I agree 100%.
All right, Pilk, are you ready?
Yeah.
To do an update? All right.
I am.
Pilk with an update. Then we're going to come back and wrap it up with Mull and get his final four after Pilk with this 94.3 The Game Sports Update.
Thank you, P-Man. It'll be a busy night in Pirate Athletics. On the Diamond, the baseball team will be taking on UNC Wilmington. That game will be down in Fayetteville. You can hear it right here on 94.3 The Game here in just a few minutes. At 5:45, it'll be just after 6 o'clock first pitch. Speaking of the Diamond, the softball ladies will be on the Diamond trying to avenge a heartbreaking defeat on Saturday afternoon at the hands of the Tulsa Golden Hurricane, which went 10 innings. They will be playing NC Central, a team they defeated in the midweek just a few weeks ago. P-Man will be on the ESPN Plus call for that one. And remember, if you want to make it out, admission is free all season long inside Max R. Joyner Family Stadium. Moving over to pro baseball, it was was a good start to the year for Mull's Dodgers. Not so good for P-Man's Cubs, as the Dodgers defeated the Cubs this morning 4-1 in Tokyo, Japan. Yamamoto got the win after throwing 5 innings of 1-run baseball. He also added 4 strikeouts to that performance. Those teams will play again tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. as well to end that 2-game series played out in Japan. Looking elsewhere in sports, as we've been talking about a lot on this show, college basketball NCAA tournament 2025 starts tonight in Dayton, Ohio. It will be St. Francis, PA, and Alabama State in the first game. Those two the winner of that game will get Auburn, and then in a battle to play Ole Miss with the 11th ranked North Carolina Tar Heels and the 11th seeded as well, San Diego State Aztecs. Moving back to baseball, and former Pirate Carter Cunningham yesterday walked it off for the Blue Jays against the Yankees in their 6-5 victory in spring training. Would have told you about it yesterday. We got the text about it just as we were signing off the air. That'll do it for your 94.3 The Game Sports Flash Update and Pirate Report. We are going to take a timeout here on the Patrick Johnson Show. We'll be back to talk more of the NCAA tournament with Brian Mull on the other side.
Hi, I'm D.R. Alligood.
And I'm his daughter, Jessica.
For 11 years, we have built quality driveways and parking lots for both your residential and commercial needs. We also offer free on-site quotes to have your custom driveways built the way you want.
252-946-1227.
Looking for a great deal on a new Nissan?
At Greenville Nissan, we've got a great selection of new Nissans for under $30,000.
The stylish Nissan Sentra, offering top-notch fuel economy. The Nissan Altima, known for its comfort and technology.
The Nissan Kicks, the perfect combination with its compact design and performance. The Nissan Versa, delivering incredible value without compromising on features. And don't forget the Nissan Rogue, an award winner for 10 years in a row. Drive it home just for $22 down and $349 a month.
Visit GreenvilleNissan.com today.
Greenville Nissan, where we drive to serve.
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers in Greenville, plus the all-new Tiebreakers in Winterville. 2 real burgers, better than anybody. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, real burgers at its best.
Everybody loves burgers.
Hi, I'm D.R. Alligood.
And I'm his daughter, Jessica.
For 11 years, we have built quality driveways and parking lots for both your residential and commercial needs. We also offer free on-site quotes to have your custom driveways built the way you want.
252-946-1227.
Your confidence makes everything look good. You see the world in vivid color, not black and white. Swing through your neighborhood Fantastic Sam's Cut in Color and let our experienced stylists take you from everyday to extraordinary.
Fantastic Sam's hair salons are locally owned and operated. Our full-service salons are conveniently located in Goldsboro, Kinston, Greenville, New Bern, Jacksonville, and Calabash. Stop in today at Fantastic Sam's, where the possibilities are endless.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro-adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Pirate fans, 2025 East Carolina football season tickets are on sale now and can be purchased for as little as $115. Head coach Blake Harrell wants you to be a part of his first full season as the Pirate coach as he builds momentum off of the 8-win season and the Military Bowl win over North Carolina State. Call 1-800-DIAL-ECU or go to ECUPirates.com today to get your 2025 season tickets.
Hell yeah! Hell yeah! Hell yeah! And now, the stunning conclusion of the show. It's the P-Man here on 94.3 The Game.
You know, we've talked a little bit about gambling here. Brian Mull with us. Boy, Vegas couldn't be more happy with the result of the TPC yesterday, huh?
It will juice so many of the Rory lovers and bettors and allow Vegas to set that line at a number that is favorable to them. and ask people, do they want to part with some of their hard-earned coins on Mr. McIlroy, who is still searching for the Masters to finish the ever-elusive Grand Slam. But he looks good. He looks awfully good. I think the gray hair suits him. And I might be tempted, Patrick, which you know me. That's something I've not done in the past. But I'm looking around.
Rory will
I don't see a lot
backdoor a
of top
top.
dogs who are barking.
Rory will
Xavier's a little
backdoor a top
banged up.
5. I
John
get it.
Rahm's in oblivion. Scotty Scheffler hurt his hand. I just don't know. Somebody's got to win.
Rory will backdoor a top 5, and he'll have that one lousy round Thursday, Friday, and then he'll backdoor his way in. All right. And look, they'll build somebody in Vegas will be able to add a wing to one of these massive hotels as a result of it. All right. Let's go with Brian Mull's Final Four picks. Who do you have and why?
I've got the Michigan State Spartans, the 2 seed, coming out of the South. I think Auburn has to worry about that second round game in Lexington, potentially against Louisville, team that was not seeded correctly. That's Pat Kelsey will have them playing with their hair on fire. They're going to get Rain Smith back, one of the best 3-point shooters in the country who missed the ACC tournament. He's going to be ready to go. And I think regardless if Auburn is able to make it the Elite Eight, I just like Tom Izzo there. Going to the West, Florida is going to win the West. I love Rick Pitino's team, but you cannot make the Final Four without 3-point shooting in this era of college basketball. And it's just kind of interesting that, first of all, it shows what a great coach Pitino is to get this team to this point, sweeping the Big East titles. But for a man who brought the 3-point shot to college basketball as much as any coach and utilized it at a high rate before anybody else thought it was a good idea to do so, they just can't shoot. And over a 6-game tournament, you're not going to win making twos and free throws. And the Florida Gators I don't see a weakness on this team. They play beautiful basketball and they're firing on both ends. I think Duke makes it out of the East. I think it's fair to say, as great as this season has been, 31-3, 3 wins over North Carolina, sweeping the ACC titles for the first time since 2006. Anything short of a Final Four with this roster would be a disappointment. And I think Duke does get to John Shire's first Final Four, and they'll see a familiar face there. It'll be a North Carolinian, Kelvin Sampson, and the Houston Cougars, who may be the only team in the country that defends better than Duke. They're going to grab shirts and shorts and poke you and push you and just absolutely try to turn it into a war and just force the best officials in the nation to call a foul on every possession, which they can't do. And that plays to Houston's advantage. I do think a Houston-Clemson potential matchup there would just be fantastic. You talk about 2 well-coached physical basketball teams. I've got Houston over Duke in a rematch, a little revenge game from last year when Houston's point guard was injured there in the Elite Eight and they couldn't score. And I've got the Gators over the Spartans. And I've got Houston cutting down the nets. I just think this is the team that they've been building towards for the last 4 or 5 years. Their ability to score and have guards who can make plays has always been maybe the one thing missing from Kelvin Sampson's toolkit. But I think this team has both the interior toughness. They're going to be full strength after battling some injuries down the stretch. And I think they have the backcourt required to win a national championship. And then maybe Kelvin Sampson comes home. And I know he'll come home and hang out and play some golf. And, maybe he comes home and retires.
All right. Very good. Brian Mull, thank you very much. Great to talk to you. We'll get up with you next week when we talk and preview the Sweet 16 and Elite 8 and all that.
Thanks, P-Man. I look forward to getting skewered then for all my bad takes. But in the meantime, everyone enjoy 4 of the greatest days of the year.
Yeah, really great stuff. Well, and 6 because you have a couple games tonight, and I do think they'll all be pretty entertaining. All right. Thank you, Brian.
Okay. Thank y'all. Everybody have a good
There
weekend.
he goes. The great Brian Mull. Follow him on X.
How would you know,
at
Patrick?
BG Mull.
You're never
What's
up
that?
for the first 4 games. Those are way past your bedtime. You have no
The late
idea
game is past
whether
my
or not
bedtime,
those are
yes.
good games.
The 6:40 games are right in my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
You know, I have my warm milk and slippers and,
There you go.
bathrobe and mahogany.
There's a sight, baby.
Yeah, there's a sight. Boy, Mull's been bullish on Houston all year, though. It's kind of interesting. All right. Thanks to Brian Mull for being with us. We'll be back tomorrow. Hoping to get Cy Seymour on with us. Have Mike Mullis later in the week also and more. So we've got a lot of things to get to still this week. But we've got Pirate Baseball coming up in a matter of minutes. We'll take you to Fayetteville, where we will have the radio call for you of East Carolina and UNCW, the first of 3 times they will meet this year coming up. Big thanks to Brian. Thank you, Pilk, as well. And stay tuned. We'll have Pirate Baseball for you in all of its glory. I'm headed over to the Max. Tune in, top of the hour, ESPN Plus, Courtney Layton and myself for East Carolina softball hosting NC Central on the Plus. And back in the morning on Talk of the Town, and back here for the Patrick Johnson Show tomorrow. Looking forward to it. Have a great rest of your evening.